Now this is 7 Row, and some of the individual buildings there, and this is 10 Row, at the top of Penkhull New Road. And this used to be called Mill Lane. And here we are again, a bit more of 10 Row. Now we've moved on to Commercial Row, and the Marquis of Granby, as it was 30 odd years ago, Manor Court Street, and the shops at the end, which are still there, although changed. The Greyhound, of course, is still there. The houses, and just past the Greyhound, and then Garden Street, and these houses, which are now, of course, long gone. And now we're in Penkhull Square. Built by Josiah Spode to house his workers. It was still occupied nearly 150 years later. And this is the exterior looking up Trent Valley Road. And these are on the side of the square. And here's the terrace, the old terrace, just before it was knocked down. With a shot, of course, of the new terrace, built sometime later than the previous picture shows. And now we're looking up Penkhull New Road, and then here's the church. And I think this picture is taken from Eardley Street, looking at the backs of the houses. And this is certainly Eardley Street, with Wright's shop, and now this is Manor Court Street. Mr. Cooper's standing in the doorway of his shop. And these are the houses in Manor Court Street. And there's the old police box, roughly where the roundabout is now. And this is Penkhull Workhouse with Norman's shop. Another view of the workhouse. I think this is the side of the chapel, with another little house behind. And here's Wynn's Oatcake shop. And we're looking towards the top of Penkhull New Road there. Bus has just gone past the Marquis. And there's the old post office next to the off-license. Well, there's the post office now. There's the off-license. And this house stood just opposite the entrance to Queen's Road from Newcastle Road, Lane. And this was one of the tricks I was using. And here we are at Manor Court Street again. Now this is the other side of the road from Manor Court Street, with Eardley Street just coming into view. Cheadle's shop, and this is looking down Queen's Road, and then back to the Marquis. Top of Penkhull New Road from the churchyard. Here we have 10 row again, with 7 row somewhere in the distance. Here is 7 row now. These are at the back of Penkhull Square. I think these are probably at the back of Manor Court Street, and there's the oatcake shop. The oatcake shop, of course, is now the hardware shop. And now we're starting with knocking down, and these pictures seem to have been mainly taken around Brisley Hill. People's secrets exposed. And here we have Penkhull Square now closed up and ready for demolition. Boys have come with the usual stones to break the windows. There's the church through the windows. I don't know where this chap came from. I think he must have come to see whether there was anything to pick up locally. But there's the dreaded gas off on the doors, but a message of hope above. And there he's going off with whatever he managed to pick up. And there's Mr. and Mrs. Cooper, and I think a nephew or a son of theirs in their shop, or relations. Here we have Eardley Street again, Wright's shop just in the distance. This was an afternoon off that I had in lieu of evening work, and I saw this going on and thought, yes, these would make a good picture. Everywhere seemed to be covered in dust for days after all this had been going on. Here's the workhouse, and Norman's shop again. Collecting a little bit of glass for a greenhouse or cold frame. These are the gardens in Manor Court Street, and here's Wright's shop again. There were some rather nice windows. And now Manor Court Street is being cleared, ready for... No, it isn't Manor Court Street. This is the top of Newcastle Lane. Notice the old gas lamp. Newcastle Lane again. I took a picture of Pear Tree Cottage. It hasn't been knocked down as we know. And here we have the houses on the other side of the churchyard. Notice the incredible length of the beams and the strength of the main beam. Again, in Newcastle Lane, now this is Manor Court Street. Here we are back at the post office. The off licence, the top of Penkhull New Road. Again, now we can see that 7 Row has gone, been knocked down. Newcastle Lane, looking up the road. These houses, of course, have all gone. Now, I took a little bit of black and white at this point. The shop there was Brunt's shop. I think this was, again, looking at the side of the chapel. And these houses, I have a feeling, were at the opposite the entrance to Queen's Road. This part is still used as a car park, funnily enough. It was called Avalon. Now the off-licence has been pulled down and only the post office remains. The shop next door is obviously unoccupied. And there's all that remains of the off-licence. Looking across at the chapel and the Marquis. And now, of course, the workhouse and Norman's shop are being pulled down. Now we see the first signs of the rebuilding these cottages are going now. Now the top of Penkhull New Road and the houses which replaced Tenrow are under construction. And here they are virtually finished. And now Garden Street has been altered. Here's Mr. Beach coming out of his new shop. He used to be at the top of Penkhull New Road, and now he had to move, or he moved to the old oatcake shop. I must have been dissatisfied with these particular shots, so I didn't put them into the original film, but because of their historic interest, I've decided to include them on this video. And here we have some of these further pictures. This is, of course, the new houses in Newcastle Lane, and there's the Assemblies of God. See where we are because I've got the street name. This gentleman I spoke to while I was taking these pictures. Contrast this with the present church. I think the gentleman really didn't like being filmed. Supplies for the rebuilding. Now this is of course Tenrow in the course of being pulled down. I was using a not very satisfactory film which doesn't give very much resolution. back of Penkhull Square. These were the outside lavatories. I don't know whether we'd wish to go back to that again. This was somewhere near the top of Trent Valley Road. Finally, a last look at Penkhull Square as it is under demolition.